Wow, what is going on YouTube? Hey gang, how you guys doing today? I got something really cool on the table in front of me. This is the new Protech Runt 5. And I really like this knife. Now this one belongs to Women Carry Knives. She was nice enough to let me take a look at it. But before we get into this, please subscribe. Hit the little subscribe button. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. It helps out the channel. And then you get to see all of the cool stuff that I get to do, or if you're interested. Of course, you don't have to. And don't forget to hit that like button too. So, I know the first thing many of you are going to say is, but that's a small knife. And I don't like small knives. But I have said many times that's not entirely true. I don't like most small knives because they don't fit my hands. Now, I have big hands. So, Protech, on the other hand, makes one of my absolute favorite small knives, and that's this. This is the Calmigo. Now, in all full disclosure fairness, I like the Calmigo a little more than I like the Runt. At least to carry, because the Calmigo has still 3 fingers, right? But because of it, there's more room for me on this knife. However, I like the blade on the Runt better than the Calmigo blade, right? This sort of almost Wharncliffe with a little bit of belly is ideal for small work and up close. This is a great knife. Of course, they share the same excellent Protech deep carry pocket clip. They have basically the same hardware. They both have a little bit of space there for junk to fall out of. They both have some jimping here where your thumb lands. I like the jimping on the Calmigo a little better. This is attractive but sort of smooth. Both of them have hidden lanyard spaces, but let's put this away and focus on this excellent knife. Now, the difference, of course, that matters, and I said I like this blade better, and I'm not kidding, this is CPM 20CV, as opposed to their sort of standard 154 CM. A lot of their knives are in 154 CM. I also very much like the fact that this is stonewashed, as is the full tie clip and all of the hardware, so it matches very nicely. But it means that the blade doesn't show fingerprints and smudges nearly as much, and that's just a really good deal. And this is a really comfortable knife for opening packages. Really what this is, it's a really snappy box cutter, and it is very snappy. I love the opening on this. Now, one of my favorite things about this, and the Calmigo of course, is that these are both California legal. What does that mean? Well, there's a lot of FUD, bad information out there about what is legal and what isn't in California. My understanding is that in California you can own autos, stuff like this, but you're not allowed to carry them in public, which is stupid, but true, unless the blade is less than 2 inches. Not 2 inches, it has to be less than 2 inches. And so, for instance, this is 1.85 inches, almost 1.9 inches, right? So this is a completely legal carry here in California. And I do. Well, I mean, I carry the Calmigo as a backup knife all the time. So I'll have something like, something like this in my front pocket. This, of course, is the Alien Knives DX2. This is the factory version. And then in a back pocket, or in my 5th pocket, I have something like this. If I'm at, somewhere where I don't want to break it. I mean, I tend to carry big knives, right? For instance, today I was carrying this, which is the off-grade Scorpion. This is the full blackout. This is a big knife, right? You break this thing out at the coffee table, at the table at work, and people are going to look at you a little funny. I don't really care what they think, but they will. This, on the other hand, because you can open it, for instance, just let it open without making a big snappy noise. You break this out to open a package or food or whatever, nobody's going to think twice about it. And because of the very neutral shaped handle, it's very comfortable while you're doing whatever that may be. I have a bunch of Protech, so I've had many. Right now I only own 2. I don't know, I'll have to look. But I love Protech. I love their work. They build great knives. So let's get some other size comparisons out of the way. You've already seen it against the Calmigo. Here it is against the full-size Griptilian. And as you can see, this is basically a spare tire for the full-size Griptilian. This is a great combination, by the way. You could not go wrong carrying these. Here it is against the, excuse me while I just knock things over. Here it is against the bug out. And again, this makes the bug out look like a big knife, doesn't it? Oh, that's fun. All right, here it is against the Rat Model 1. Again, it's a little tiny knife. It really is. But it's tiny in a way that just works. Again, this neutral handle allows me to get 3 fingers, solid grip on this knife, right? It just locks in. I really enjoy this knife. I really do. What's one more comparison we can do? Oh, here's a fun one. This is the Mini Osborne, the Mini 940, 945 in fact the number. And as you can see, the runt here is, in fact, a runt. How small is it? Well, let's measure it. Let's you and I do that, shall we? All right. So as I said, the blade is 1.85 inches of cutting on 2 inches of CPM 20 CV. The grip area from just behind that swell is just about 2 3/4 inches long, which is right there at 3 fingers for me, as you can see. The overall knife from end to end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1/8, right? Little tiny thing. The Calmigo, I don't know why my voice broke there, is a little longer, coming in at just about 5.5. Blades are the same length, so you get just a little more handle on the Calmigo. It does, I don't like the lock, but whatever. Closed, this thing is just tiny, right? I mean, closed, we're looking at, 3 1/8, right, all the way to the end. Closed profile on this guy is less than 1 inch. So it really disappears in the pocket. In width, we're looking at just under 1/2 inch, which is a very comfortable carry as well. I recently took a new position, and so I work on school campuses all over the Bay Area, or at least one part of the Bay Area. And middle schools and high schools are very finicky about knives. So I don't carry one while I'm on campus, of course. But something like this goes into my backpack and lives there very comfortably. So I'm never without a knife, which is where my sort of interest in small knives has begun to redevelop. I realized that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love big knives, right? If you're gonna carry a knife, carry a knife. But having access to small knives that are still great cutters, comfortable in hand, and well made, you just can't argue with it. So if you guys are looking for a small knife that serves even large knife cutting purposes, because that blade is fantastic, you don't have to look much further than the Runt. You really don't. They've done a fantastic job here. If you have slightly larger hands, maybe the Calmigo is the move for you. And if you want to stay away from autos, and there is a review of this coming very shortly, if you're looking for a tiny knife that is exceptionally comfortable, there's a full review of this coming. The Baby Banter is, in fact, there's a review of this coming later this week, so keep your eyes open for it. God, this is a great knife. And it is not much bigger than the Runt. So keep your eyes open for that. My point is that even though my personal preferences run to, bigger sort of monster knives, there's a place for little ones. There really is. And this is an excellent example of what can be done with not a lot of knife and yet still make it completely usable and completely functional. Let's take a look at how much it weighs, just because I'm curious. Say it with me. Come on, magic scale. All right. The Runt 5 from Protech weighs in at a massive 2.2 ounces. You know, if you're a hiker or a backpacker and you don't need a full-size blade and you want something that drops and disappears into the pocket or a pouch in a backpack, this is just exactly the kind of knife you're going to want. And I love the snap-on opening. This thing is so good. Let's break out the calipers. See how much CPM 20 CV they give you. The blade starts, that's in inches, so we're at 1.095 thousandths of an inch, which is, right, because doing stuff's important, under 3 millimeters, right? So 2.78 millimeters. So it's a reasonably thin slice of CPM 20 CV. It's got a little bit of flat, but a nice amount of drop down to the cutting edge. And this thing does have a lovely edge. It has a nice tip if you need to pierce things with it, but it's not overly robust. But you're not going to pry with this anyway because you don't pry with your knives, right? Right. Me neither. Don't do that. So what's the final analysis? Well, the final analysis is simple. If you're looking for a small knife with great action from a great company, go get one. If you need a little more handle, get yourself one of these. You will not be disappointed in either. If you want the newest and the bestest and a better blade steel, find yourself a Runt. They're about 125 bucks, which is a lot of money for a small knife, but not this level of build quality. Oh, and as you know, I'm sure you know by now, the scales are aluminum. And they come in a bunch of really interesting and cool colors. And that's where we're going to leave it. This excellent little knife is the Protech Runt 5. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. If you have any questions about this or, any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. I hope you guys are having a great day. We'll see you next time.